Welcome to this beautiful platform. We are talking to young women who are determined to change their communities. These wonderful young women have started their own initiatives with nothing but aiming to change their communities. Through determination and proper mentorship, we believe that they are going far.
Every woman deserves to be in a peaceful and a secure space.
Women are socialized to have different roles.
Any action that you do, you must be ready to pay the price.
They have commercialized our bodies in every aspect of life.
You're beautiful before even a man tells you that.
Hello, welcome back to the Passing the Baton podcast. And today we are going to be talking about women in politics. And with me, I have powerhouses who are going to tell us who they are, and then we can get right into the juice of the conversation. So I'll start with the youngin. Please tell us who you are and what you do.
Hi viewers, my name is Feni Ogembo and I am passionate about women in politics, especially girls and young women. And I am happy to be part of this conversation today, very ready for the unfolding.
On to my right. Please tell us who you are and what you do.
Thanks for having me. My name is Dina Woragai. I'm a social justice activist, a women's rights advocate, and a mental health champion. I'm also a certified clinical counselor and a political enthusiast, and particularly on women in leadership. Thank you.
Yes, and the lady in the hot pink.
Yes, the lady who must be noticed.
Yes.
Yes, so my name is Jane Anyango, the founder, Polycom Girls. I'm also a grassroots women ambassador. I'm a woman of peace, also a mediator. Thank you. Happy to be here today.
Awesome. Thank you for honoring our invite. So I want us to start with an icebreaker, and it will be an emoji. I don't know if you guys know what an emoji is. Do you?
Yes, I do know emoji.
Yes. Wow. So an emoji, you know the way you can send a text and then because you want to express the emotion you're feeling, kuna na the two cartoons that have tears in. So I want you to think of those emojis. What's one emoji that describes politics today for women? Like when you think about women in politics, what's the one emoji that comes to mind? Maybe I'll start with Feni because I know she's well conversant with emojis, as you guys think. Yes.
I think for now, one emoji that will describe women in politics currently, I think it's the one that has a face and then it's reddish.
Why?
The face is reddish.
Why?
The politics is hot currently.
Okay. Yes, Dina.
I think for me, it's the one that has somebody who is sort of screaming and the head is like bursting. Yeah, and it's because we are both experiencing positives as women politically, but we're also experiencing negatives that are really shocking. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so I never used emoji, but the one at times I find very easy to find and use is the prayer one. I think it can speak to the politics of this country. Yeah, because we need prayers.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Mm-hmm. So today we are having an intergenerational conversation around politics. So we just want to know where were we, where are we, and what's ahead for even us who are aspiring to be, not directly per se, but, or maybe when someone wants to be directly in politics, how do we go about it? Yeah, so maybe I can start with you, Ma'am Jane. Yeah.
Yeah, really, the politics of this country, what I know is that the women worked very, very hard for us to be here today. I've had a lot of conversations with our post-colonial politician, Mam Jael Mbogo, who has narrated to us how much they worked to get themselves into this space, how much they negotiated. And you listen to them and you're able to celebrate the things that they were able to achieve. We look at the biggest women house in this country, Maendeleo House, which they actually negotiated with the president then. Just remember that the president we had then was, I don't know whether to call him a patriarch. He was like just that man, full man who believed in himself. And so, they were able to negotiate. And I just love the way they were able to unite. Then people were using post box, but they were able to communicate and they were able to achieve quite so much. What inspires me again is the way they supported each other. I remember when we had just through this project, Passing the Baton, when we had in the same room Jael Mbogo, we had Sipora Kitonyi, we had Lina Chebi Kilimo, and they narrated to us how Jael contributed to Chebi's political leadership. So when Chebi wanted to be a leader, she actually went to Zipora Kitonyi. And Zipora was like, Kano is full. You cannot get a space within Kano. Let's introduce you to Jael, who can take you to, I don't know whether it was ODM or, I can't remember. Maybe Dina can remember. But she was actually taken within the opposition space. And she actually got herself into politics. So if I look at the history of this country, women really supported each other. Women conversed together. Women reasoned as women as opposed to political parties. What we are seeing today is that we are seeing women who are aligned to their different political parties. We are seeing women who are serving the interests of their political parties. And I think at a very minimum, I stand to be corrected, the interests of women. So looking forward, and that is why we are having these conversations, is like we are trying to urge everyone to speak together. We are trying to urge the current politicians to speak to the retired politicians, the women who have walked the path, the women who felt the pain, the women who are beaten up on our streets for us to get the liberation we are having today. So we are hopeful. We have a powerful constitution that if we are able to follow to the latter, then we are getting somewhere. We are definitely going to celebrate as women of this country. And when I'm talking about women and political leadership of this country, I'm just not just talking about women. I'm talking about all of us. What happens when you get a woman into leadership? It means that everyone is catered for. Thank you.
Awesome. Yes, on to you, Ma'am Dina.
I think I concur with Madam Jane that the women that came before us, the pioneers, that is, the Jael Mbogos, the Zipora Kitonyis, Phoebe Asios of politics in Kenya, did a commendable job. And they sort of were the ones who cleared the bushes for the politicians, the female politicians right now. And they did it at a time when patriarchy really was very, very strong. As she has alluded, Jael and the rest of the females were working when the president was really a strong man. Kenyatta was a strong man and wielded so much power. And for these women to be able to even have a sitting with a person of that stature, it took a lot of confidence in them, and more importantly, passion and focus on their part. If you sit with a woman like Jael, the stories are so powerful and so profound, and time, you can't even finish the lessons that you learn when you get an opportunity to sit with her. It's really sometimes very frustrating when you see that these women worked in very tough situations. The landscape was not easy, but they seem to have done so much with very little. Fast forward, we have done quite a bit, but I feel like we move 10 steps forward and 10 steps backward in terms of even the quality of women that we have. because when you have a sitting with these women, some of them might not even have gotten to go to school at a higher level, but they have depth. You can really feel that these are women who understand the issues, they are passionate about the issues, and they are go-getters. And sometimes that is lacking in the current political landscape, which is unfortunate given the opportunities that we have at the moment. We have women being included because of the constitution that we have. Inclusion is important, and the constitution has stipulated that it has to happen. It's a law. We have technology that we as younger women should use positively. But you find that some of those that we put in those positions don't even understand the historical injustices that women went through to be in those positions. So when they find themselves in those positions, they don't utilize or give those positions the kind of importance and significance that they should. And it's almost like as if they play around with those positions, not knowing that people actually lost lives and went through a lot. But one thing I can say as somebody that has been in this space for quite a while now is that politics is so important that it cannot be left to politicians. And it is incumbent upon us as women, as females, to make sure that we have a critical number of women that are in the political space. I know in Kenya it's a bit murky, which politics is all over the world, but Kenya it's murkier. But I feel that it's only when we are critically represented politically that some of the issues that we deal with can be sorted out. And so I think it's very, very important for women to be in politics, young and old, because sometimes there's this talk of only young. Yeah. But even the older women that have been there, Akina Jael, Akina Phoebe, they have such important information and lessons that if they share with us, and if we are ready to listen to them, can really make whatever it is that we want to offer even better. Yeah.
Okay, now to Feni. Now that the trajectory is women in politics, be honest, how easy is it for a woman in politics today? Yes, we hear how it was unheard of that women would be in seats. Today we see women in seats, but how easy is it for them?
I would say I was privileged to be part of an academy held by FAWE in teaching women, younger women, girls and young women, into politics. And I heard some of the stories because we sat with those who had been nominated, those who vied for politics. And the patriarchal system is strong, rooted in the ground, but you have to shift yourself as a woman. One gave an example of her going for a rally and the people were shouting at her because she's still single, she's not married. Those are some of the factors that come out. And she was like, I am here so that you see me, so that you give me your children. You get that's a counter of what they're saying. And they actually now started listening to her. Another scenario was one who is a lady with disability, and she's an albino within the Nandi community. And she gave an example of how she did her rallies. Honestly, women are trying out here. Women are creative. She didn't have money, like literally she didn't have money, but she decided to go and talk to boda guys and convince them. So anytime she could go for a rally, the people in the community were like, sorry, how are you, quote unquote, Mzungu, coming to our community, learning our language, and then you want to speak to us? It can't work. But now she started giving them the story, her history on where she was born, where she was raised, where she went to school. It's just within the community. She even came with her friends whom she studied with, and they actually confirmed. So there's an extra mile, yes, that we need to go as women to validate and justify and, do all that for us to be in politics. But yes, at this point, I would say it is easy because, one, you can start by joining a political party. Like I'm a part of ODM, like that's an entry point for a young person or just for anyone who wants to join politics. And then now before you start getting into the jargon of the political parties and everything, you start now understanding how the dynamics work within the space. Where can you position yourself as a person who wants to get into politics? Because it's also good for you to understand, if I want to vie in a particular constituency or county, let me just use an ironic example. I cannot stand with ODM and I want to go and vie in Nandi as an MP. I mean, automatically you will fail very early in the morning before you. So it's just understanding like which party favors me, and then where am I actually going to vie, and what are some of the interests of the community, because then it helps you to position yourself. It helps you to understand what you're going in for. And then I think the rest can always be managed, but at times it gets overboard. It is not bad for you to retrieve and always come back stronger. Yes. So I would say that. Great. So I don't know if it happened then back in the days, because today we see headlines. Whenever a woman comes out, it's usually you're not married or you're single, or why is you dressing like that? It's never about what is in your mind. Was it the same thing then? And if yes, how are women in politics countering this? Because today we see the ratio of women to men kidogo inaanza kupanda in the political seats. So how do I, because women are coming out today wengi, I want to lead. But how do I counter intimidation from social media? Not only from social media, but also from the male counterpart.
I think that is socialization, because as a people, women are socialized to have different roles, and mostly they are nurturing roles like being in the home and that kind of setup. And so leaders in our setup were always male. So it is something that society has to gradually, because traditions are things that don't change easily. There's a lot of awareness, advocacy that needs to be put in for such things to change. And like you're saying right now, many more women come out and want to be in positions. Many more women are in political parties, though not as many as should be. We have women that are mobilizers, but they are not necessarily members of political parties. They are fans of politicians. In fact, they are fans of individual politicians. It is important for women to be part of political parties in terms of having a number, a registration that you've paid for. That is when you're a bona fide member of a political party. That is very important. And when you're there, you also have to work hard to make sure that you climb the ladder, so to speak, because for the longest time, women in political parties were just there to pray, which is an important thing, but not to hold positions of influence. And even when you hold positions of influence, for example, myself, at one point I was the vice chair of the Safina, which was headed by Paul Muite, a renowned human rights activist and somebody that was very respected. But you found that even in that position, there was a lot of, you were not being respected because of what you were bringing, simply because for the longest time they felt that the political party is like a boys' club of some sort. So you had to really work hard to be felt and to be respected in terms of your opinion and what you're bringing. So I think it is important that we continue to have conversations and discourses like this one that then shows society that really women can be in political leadership and not just in the kitchen and those other roles that are very important. I also would like to say that politics is murky, and it's not murky only in Africa or in Kenya. It's murky even in the US that we would want to ape. We saw when Hillary Clinton was running for president, she went through a lot of so many funny things, difficult things, and she was made fun of, and so many things. And so you have to, I think, know yourself, be secure in yourself, be confident in what you're bringing on the table, and I think it will be well with you.
There's a friend of mine who vied, I think, the last elections, but then she's very eligible and all that, but then her ticket was sold for 2 million. So she goes back to be an independent candidate, and definitely to independent candidate, for you to make it, truthfully, it can only be good. So what do? I'm an eligible candidate as a woman. Where do I go? Because the reasons why matters, just harassment. They wanted her to submit to something that did not sit right with her. So she pulls out, and then they're like, now we are going to sell this ticket of yours. And that's how she lost it.
Good question. Yes, I think our political parties are very powerful, and they're also the vehicles to parliament. But I think we should also ask ourselves our relationship with the people. How well are we connected to our people? Because what has been talked about in the past is that our leaders are not really connected to the people. Most of them only come to the people when they are looking for votes. After that, they are gone. If you look at our structures or you look at our communities, we are a very organized community. Kenya, you'll find the small chamas. You'll find, especially women, we are always united. If not in church, then we are united, I don't know, for people who want to have children, for funerals, for what. So we have a lot of social gatherings, but no, these gatherings are not well coordinated with our leaders. And at times, people say that when they come into the community, then mostly people are asking for money. But we should ask ourselves, when did it start? When did it start, and why should people ask for money? It's like, yes, there are people who feel that we are giving you the opportunity to go and make it for yourself. But I think they also feel that they are giving you the opportunity to go and make it for yourself because you're not going to come back to them. But if we can have this very good relationship with organizations, with local organizations, with the local groups within the community, just be sitting down with them, listening to them, so that it's more than just that, the political party. We have seen where people have made it independent, especially if they are well connected with the people. Yes, party tickets are very hard to get. Very, very hard to get. You must be special. So it has to be more than just you who is vying. But community-wise, we have seen it in the past, even in our community in Kibra. We have seen it in my rural community. The candidate, the MCA serving us today was an independent candidate. So I think we should do as much as possible to connect with these social structures within the community if we really want to have community support. So someone, I think Fanny has talked about the border guys. So how well are we connected with even our border guys? I remember recently we lost some lady somewhere in was it Utawala, and it was so interesting that the border guys were like, she's our member. She's our member, and they organized and they came to the village. In fact, when they went to the village, they protected her more than the border guys within the area. But even the border guys within the area were very surprised, because this was a lady who was working at the UN, and she still had connections with the local people. So I think we should ask ourselves what our structures are, so that we're not just looking at the political parties. Because with the political parties, I think women of this country at times really feel betrayed and lied to, because the people who are rewarded have no connections with the people. So I think as a country we should start nurturing, especially among the women, should start nurturing leaders who have connections with the people, who resonates with the issues with the people within the community, and who can sit down with the people, You know, we have most of our politicians coming into community and trying to do what organizations are doing. You find most politicians have foundations. Why would they have foundations when they didn't have before they got into politics? You know, you listen to all politicians, they want to do pads. Why are they doing pads? We have organizations within the community who are supposed to be doing pads. These are people who are supposed to be legislating for the people. But because there's no connection with the people, because there are no conversations, like you don't really understand the interests of the people, that is where people end up, I think, really up high, but alone. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, we've been fighting for these positions, but how do we bring in, yes, tunataka ratio itoshane, generational equality. But how do we get to the point where it's not only quantity, but also quality? Would you say that women, kusema ukweli sahi hata tuseme now, okay, now Polycom is here, we are giving funding to ladies to come into politics. Would you say there's quality, or are we just after quantity in the...
I think one, I would quote the words of Millie. She was responding to a particular politician, I don't want to mention the name, and saying that women like you who do not understand gender is my agenda, and I will teach you. You know, that clearly communicates that most of the women who get into political leadership have no agenda of women into politics. We just get into politics because maybe we have passion for politics and that's it. But we are not ready to fight for other women, like the way Akina Jael did for the women who are in currently. Because if you try and look at just the current wave of how things are going, you find that some women will break off from the movement and decide to, like Madam Jane said, do what the political party requires. Because at the end of the day, it is the political interest, but not the people who are at heart. That's the interest. And the women of gender is my agenda. So quality has reduced, but we do have people who can actually give that quality, but you find them being sabotaged. So through the whole process, you find that's when they will yes, they were nominated, the elections went well, the people love them, but at the end of the day, because you're a woman, you're told to go and finish your business kwa ofisi ya mkubwa, and when you do not comply to that, you're automatically kicked out. You get. So I would say that yes, there are challenges that fosters that, but how then do we reposition ourselves as women? Because if the statistics says that we are more than men, I mean, why not form a women's political? But still we are guided by the Constitution, because you cannot form an all women-led political party, because you'll be told the 2/3, for which it will be strict on our side because already we are disadvantaged. But for the men, they do it and they get a few women just to, clear up the whole thing, and then they keep moving. But yes, we are trying. I'd say, as someone who comes from Oma Bay County, I am proud that my county has the biggest number of women into the political space. And I love how the few women are strategic.
Fanny has mentioned something around forming women chamas. What is stopping women from creating this women chamas?
Before I give my interventions on that, I want to reiterate that political parties are the vehicles mostly that are used in democracies to get to power. And they are very strong. But in Kenya, they are the weakest link, because in terms of good governance and democratic practices, they lack at a very high level. Some of the things that she's alluding to are some of the problems that are there that women face. Problems such as you have to buy a ticket, and sometimes even you have to be somebody's mouthpiece to be supported. You see, when you're a mouthpiece to somebody, when you go in the house, you're always going to be articulating that person's position. because that is why you were nominated. So to find women that just grow themselves and reach that pinnacle of politics and be in both houses of parliament or even be governors, you have to really be unique. Yeah, there's something that has to be unique. You have to be a mobilizer in your own right. You have to be nationally respected. Yeah, and you find that we don't have women that offer themselves most of the time that have those credentials. You find that women, like you're saying, are many, but it seems like we are disorganized majority. We are many, but we don't know how to use our powers. And on the other note is that there's also a lot of pettiness and jealousy among women. That a girl is socialized to be the one who seems to be the best among the other girls. So it happens even in the national front and elective positions, where you find that a woman feels comfortable when they are few. They feel like it's an exclusive club. Why are you fighting for other women to join us? We benefit more when we are few. So they're not really out there fighting to have more women. They actually want to be few. There are political parties where you find that the chair is a woman, she's the only woman, and somehow she's comfortable. Even when positions are being given, she doesn't speak out and stick out her neck and say, this can't go on, you have to include more women, we have to be this percentage. No, she's very comfortable being alone, because then she can be looked at as she's the one. And that is socialization that has to change, because even in your home, when you're the girl, you're always being pitted against nani nywele yake ni mzuri kuliko ya, when ni smart kuliko so and so. So we always want to feel that we are powerful alone, which I think is a disservice to ourselves, because united we become stronger. True. And the other thing is also using movements. Akina Jael and Akina Phoebe KANU had a movement. KANU had so many things that were not right with it. But in terms of movement, KANU was powerful in that you can go to Homa Bay and there is a KANU office there. KANU had made sure that there is an office there, there is a chairperson, there is a woman representative there. So you find that that's a movement. So when a message has to be given, it will be gotten. But you see, there's a disconnect now because we don't have movements. We are fragmented into small different groups, and that just makes us not powerful. I think today we just had Namibia elect President Nadi as president, and we have also Madam Lucia as the deputy. In the southern part of Africa, movements are very strong. So grassroots movements are very strong. Not this issue of having elite women in the national space saying that we are speaking for so-and-so. No, in the South African region, those grassroots women are the ones speaking for themselves. And they are the ones who are getting those positions. They go to the houses of parliament, and if they don't understand English, they speak Zulu. Yeah? It's because we have equated leadership to elitism at some level. That it's only that lady that has gone to university and has the masters that can have a voice or represent your voice. No. Women can represent my grandmother could represent the people in the village with no education. She was a Nyamrerwa. She was this thing of Mijikumi. She was a representative there. She was a deaconess. She was all those things without an education. And that's leadership. Yeah. So we cannot decide that leadership is just this structured thing.
Yeah.
And to go to your question about chamas.
Yeah.
Women are very good at doing these things, and they do a lot. Survival in most of our communities is because women are contributing small monies and making the community actually run. But when it comes to politics, that is where now things start to not go the right way. And it's because also for the longest time our politics is divisive. So if you're in ODM, you feel like the person in the other party that is still a woman like you is your enemy, which shouldn't be the case. You're both in different political parties, but you're carrying the voice of the women. So you should be able to speak the same language. And another thing, most of the women that make it because of those other problems of money and things like that don't understand where we've come from in terms of the historical injustices. Yeah, kishafika, she feels, mimi hamkuniweka hapa, it's my money that put me here. So why are you telling me about female genital mutilation? Me, I'm at work. I made myself be here. So we need to hold them accountable and make sure that they understand that women have fought so hard for them to be in those houses of parliament and positions of power in politics.
Yeah. So, Madam Jane, listening to all this, do you think it's the policies that have been set in place that are limiting women, or women themselves are limiting themselves?
Yeah, I think we have very powerful policies in this country, and people worked very, very hard. For our new constitution, people worked. For the affirmative action, people worked. You know, when women have really struggled to get there, you know, to even to have the conversation around the affirmative action position that we have right now. So policy-wise, we are good. And as I mentioned before, it's like, how do we trickle down to the ground? Dina has just mentioned about the powerful movement that KANU had. We also had maendeleo ya wanawake, which you know, they are the ones, can I say the honors? I think, you know, at the end of the day, it's our thing as all women. I'm not even sure if the young people, if the young women are aware that this is the only national women building or national women house that we have in this country, Maendeleo House. And women worked hard and negotiated for it. They can tell you the history. But where are we right now? I'm so happy that we are having this conversation around movement strengthening, around passing the baton, where we are able to sit down with the women who negotiated for the house, for the space. They even went ahead. They went, when they were fundraising for the building, they'll tell you how much. They even boycotted some meeting in the UK when they went, and the person who was representing Kenya was actually a man. You know, so they worked very, very hard. So as young people, what do you want to do? What do we want to do? Do you still want to sit back and listen to the complaints? We saw the Gen Z, call it revolution. We saw how much, you know, they came out. We saw the women out during the femicide march. But what did we get going forward? At the end of the day, it saddens me so much when I see young people getting together, and then within a very short time, they're fighting, they're doing what, and they're so much apart, and we just have a few going forward. So do we really look at ourselves? Like, do we go there with our own individual interests? You know, I listen to Fanny. I'm always inspired anytime I listen to her introducing herself as the president, because I'm like, is it really inside of her that she really wants to go forward and say, you know what, this is who I am right now, and you can build on this? It's very possible. And do we have people around her who are supporting, who are feeling excited the way I'm feeling excited? Am I just feeling excited because I'm not of her generation? what the young women around the generation. I really admire you, Fanny, and you've really worked very hard, even trying to have these conversations with young people and the rest. But how do you keep them? How do we get this ownership where all young women are saying, you know what, it's not about me in leadership, but it's about my voice. It's about the young women out there. It's about, we have to really get together and support them. Well, our women did it before. Imagine they did it. Listen to them. I'm told at some point they even stopped using their second names because they didn't want people to mark them with their Nyango, Wanjiru, Muhonja. They were doing Jen, just the first names so that they keep their unity. But what are we doing right now? What are we doing, especially the young people in the house? Do we look at this country and we say that, you know what, this house that I'm destroying is my house. This house, without this house, I'm going nowhere. Without pushing for these policies, without going out, with, even if I'm not paid anything, even if it's not within anybody's space, then anybody's resources, then I'm going for my country. Do we have that Mau spirit where we are saying, you know what, liwe liwalo, it's for the welfare of our country? So this conversation that we're having right now, as we have taken our time and we have listened to the people on whose shoulders we stand today, who are able to give us success stories, we are taking our time to identify and talk about the turbulence that are there, talk about the favors that we have seen within our political space, meaning we are acknowledging the problems that are there. As young people, are you learning from the problems that are there and saying, hey, we are not getting ourselves in the mix? I remember in Kisumu, the lady who went for the women rep position, she was very young. So some of the things that we're supposed to ask ourselves is like, why didn't she make it? I just love the determination. And she wasn't in any political party, yeah? After she lost the party ticket, she went individual. And she worked very, very hard. She had a lot of following. So my question would be, especially looking at young people, is that how many young people are behind her? Not because she is a young person, but because she's very determined and she has it all. But now what she's lacking is the patriarchal and the what? Just those status things, the brands that we put around us so that we if someone is not visible. And where is she today? Do we even think where we are as young women that this is a woman who did so well that we can bring her into this space? Like when we are talking about political mentorship, who are we looking at? Can she be a mentor? Or can she be supported to be mentored? Can we just keep her up there because it's not just about being elected? Can we keep her up there so that we know that we are nurturing, we are supporting a powerful young woman to be a leader tomorrow? We have young people who are coming into the space who are going to vote for the first time. People like Wakena, the girls that we have had in this conversation today. What are we telling them when we go into schools? Yeah. Are we just talking to them about menstrual health? Are we just talking to them about what? Are we just talking to them about passing exams, about keeping themselves, can I say virgins? Sorry to use the word. Or we are telling them that, there's something called political leadership, and politics is everything. So if we don't get you into this space, if you don't understand what politics is all about, then you are also going to go into the political wave. You're going to go into the tribal wave. You're going to go into, when you start picking divisions in your head, then you never stop, So these are some of the things that, especially as young people, should worry us. You should be more worried than some of us, You should be more worried than some of us, and you should be as strategic as possible. You need every sister in the room. You can't afford to fight over anything, because at the end of the day, when the country goes down, you have more to lose than the people went ahead of you.
Beautiful, beautiful. And so as a parting shot, a viewer is watching and they're like, okay, they've spoken about politics, but they're like, today politics is a dirty game. Why should I be part of it? I've seen women being fought, so why should I go again, make a ridicule of myself? And just make them understand why politics, because even the bread that we eat has politics in it. Yeah. So as a parting shot, and I'll just circle it back to you, Fanny, then we will just finish with Mamdina and Mamjen. Why politics as a woman?
Yeah, just to echo your words. One, the food you eat is politics. The school you go to is politics. The hospital you go to is politics. So it means when we complain and you're not in politics, then it makes it even difficult, 10 times harder for you to be able to get the resources you want, for us to be able to get good health care, because we do understand that we lose women during birth. We do understand that we have women who have chronic illnesses that need support, and every other person in the society and in the community. And I loved what Mama Uhuru did during her regime and her time. And I wish we could emulate that when I don't know if there is a kachama for first ladies, but I'm pretty sure there is. I think I had something like that within the Pan-African space. It is there, but how then do we come up as girls and young women to get into politics? Let us start with the small. I would echo the words of my mentor. Let us start small. Get into a political party. She used to tell us, enda hata upange viti during a political party meeting. We panguzanga tu viti.
Yeah.
And also go ahead beyond that and ask for other things that you can do. Maybe just write minutes within that space, and then it propels you to even go to greater heights and greater heights. You get noticed. They look small, they look minor. I don't know, I lack a better term, but they say it is good to do the donkey work at times. It does give you a better chance for you to bargain higher, because they have seen you work on the ground. They have seen, hey, this one can do this job because they do 1, 2, 3, 4. So that can be an entry point. Sorry, considering the GBV issues that are taking place and everything, let us not be discouraged, I would say, as young people, because someone like Millie has done it, someone like Elachi has done it, and all these other political women who are part and parcel of the family. Still, that means that we can be able to do it. And it doesn't mean if I went through a rough time in politics, that's gonna be yours. I mean, look like someone like Toto. Out of nowhere, boom, Toto becomes, and he, gets into politics. And that's how she grows her career. So journeys are different, stories are different. You can always make it with your own unique side of life. And let us get into politics. Politics is everything. Even the food you eat is politics. Yeah.
Yes, Mamtina.
Yeah, even the food you eat is politics. I think we all agree that we must care about politics, because whether we are in it or not, it affects us. And more importantly, I just want to say that politics is life. Yeah. And you don't have to be in elective politics. You see, when you participate in chiefs' barazas that are dealing with different issues in the community, that is a political process. Your voice is being heard in that baraza, and it will affect the outcome or the recommendations that come out of that baraza. So you're actually showing interest and making an impact in terms of the policies that come out.
Yeah.
And you're being an active citizen. But I'm happy that the happenings in this country, the past few years politically, have woken people up. I remember some time back, my family members would always be like, why are you interested in politics? Well, it's bad, and they were so discouraging. Actually, it's my grandma who used to be my greatest cheerleader, and she'd tell me, just continue. But the rest of the family members were like, why is she even bothering? And these are educated people. And even in WhatsApp groups, I'd share things about what is happening on policies and different things. And they would be so angry, like, why are you even bringing this in a family platform? But today, it is the same people that now are very active in terms of politics because of how it has affected them. Some of them are in the middle class. Some of them are wealthy. They felt that probably their positions in life, their status was going to help them or hinder them from the nini, what politics can do to them.
Yeah.
But now they realize even the mafuta that we paka as women, zile za Mombasa House.
Yes.
There is a case in Cameroon where, they like those light whatever creams. And the government decided to hike the prices. And for the first time, women were like, so it's important to actually participate in politics. Hata mafuta zetu zinakuwa affected. So when politics touches every single aspect of your life, you must care about it. And for the young people, I think joining political parties for elective positions is important. Volunteering. Because young people, I don't think if they understand the importance of volunteering, you must volunteer. You must show that you're adding value to something. I saw a post on Facebook yesterday that was saying that networking is not just you trying to cleverly access things without giving back. It is you actually giving back for a long time until you actually also start benefiting. This thing of thinking that I'll just come and meet so and so and I'll blow up, it doesn't work like that. You have to mtaka cha mvunguni sharti ainame. And when you're enamoring, in that process, you're learning a lot. And that is what young people don't understand. Volunteering, hapa kwa corridor, the things you're going through are actually building and expanding you. So you do that in political parties. Again, you make sure that you also identify mentors, people that, and they don't have to be people that you meet every day.
Yeah.
People can mentor you even through television, through books. You can read about people. For example, myself, I get a lot from people like Maya Angelou and different people that I read about, and I get inspired and want to do more. So people should try, young people should try and get to reading, get to go online and learn about what other people did before you. And more importantly, you have to organize and mobilize as young people. Most of the time, after a while, we go and visit Jael.
Yeah.
And my purpose for visiting her, as much as I'd love to see her, is just to get to know the things that happened. So such encounters are very important. So young people should be strategic in that way, that you don't just dismiss that, when you are old.
Yeah.
I remember we used to dismiss the older generation when we were in our 30s. Imagine now, next month I'll be 50.
Wow.
Imagine, a whole 50. When I was 30,
Yeah.
I was like energetic and feeling like, sasa
I'm the
wanatuambia.
youngest.
So it's now that you go back and start perusing these older people and what they did and how marvelous it was. But finally, I want to thank Polycom for organizing such discussions, because it is very, very important. It is very, very needed. And having young people like yourself on is very important, because people are encouraged when they can relate someone. So when they're seeing you as a young person, when they're seeing you as a female, they know that it can be done. And so I just hope that this kind of discussion goes on and on and on. Thank you.
And to our last
That was
panelist.
powerful. Yeah, thanks so much, Dina, for that. In fact, the reason why we are doing this, and the title of this project is like movement strengthening. Bringing everyone in the room, harvesting from those with experience, learning from those who have walked the path, relating to what we are doing today, and still encouraging the young people to be able to, the very young people, to just have hope and walk with hope. But one must be intentional. You must know what you are looking for. If you ask young people here today, you'll ask them like, what are you really looking for? The kind of education that we have in this country don't give you the direction, the life direction. Wewe unasoma tu so that you can pass your exam. So how are you organized? What do you want? What are you aspiring to be? And have you noted it down? Start from the end, walk coming back. Like, what should I do? So that when you start taking your boxes, then you're so sure that, you know what, hii nilisema, hii imekuwa, hii nilisema, so I'm on the right path, you know? So young people, just try to be as intentional as possible and consult. Work with people who have worked before. Let's not go there and say, hey, there's nothing that has been achieved. There's so much that have been achieved. So much. Jael Bogo will tell you that we couldn't even talk about FGM. So we entered and organized ourselves and said we now want to talk about family life. And within family life, they would push in that. So how are you using the spaces that you have as you're building your movement? Because you can also not do it alone.
Yes.
So pick whatever you want, package it well, so that as you're selling to the other person who does not have the same package as yours, then you're able to pick what is common within your baskets, and then you're able to walk forward as you strengthen what you have. Otherwise, thank you so much. I'm also happy to be part of this conversation.
Wow, thank you so much to my panelists. And so to our viewers, mumeisikia yote, habari ndio hiyo. Be planted in politics, because the bread you're eating, and especially for women, now that we are talking about women, even the sanitary towels we are using, it is politics. So thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you on the next episode. I was your host, Marlene. Bye.